find out who killed Taka and Fumi. I almost forgot his name. I honestly have no idea what I was doing last. That's the repository, okay. Itch on my throat, so might be coughing every few minutes.
So then, I knew it. I see. Hey. Whew. So then... That's right. In other words, however, Makoto, because hey. Is that right? So then...
Why is the lady sweating too? She's supposed to be dead.
Indeed. That's right. Indeed.
One killed the other, and the other killed the
Why is that?
killed him.
Hey. So... However... Is that right? So,
They're fighting with them out.
hey. So then. Hey. Is that right?
Are you excited? Are you pumped? It's time for the class trial to begin! Like the bright burst of fireworks, like the flash of a soul clashing with life and death. And so, with no further ado, everyone please meet at the usual spot. Make your way to the
It would seem... Shall we go?
Here goes no. Sorry, I'm trying to look up what the skills for every character is, so I'm not wasting all my time. Kinda cheap, I know, but whatever.
Monaco. Wrong.
Whew.
Boy, tough crowd.
Stop talking.
Okay. Hey!
Everyone's here and ready to go. Please board the train, or elevator, the pain train. Sorry.
Let's go.
Okay, then shout.
Please!
Hold on, I'm not mentally prepared yet.
What the heck?
You'll never be mentally prepared. You can't run away anymore, hero. You're gonna pay for your sins.
What the heck?
You're serious. These were finding the costume. Oh, no. How unfortunate that it would see me ever cope.
Hey.
So we're gonna say before we get to the corporate.
That's right.
She's right, let's get down there first, then the story can really begin. It had to have been Sakura.
Damn.
Just the worst. Hey.
Yes.
Once everyone was aboard, the elevator went down.
Wah-wah?
Wow, wow. Dude, they hate me so much, but I'm so
Come on.
Stop goofing around and give it a try. Don't push me up once I'm gonna start.
Show me your money maker.
Hey, I'll show you everything.
Kill the black guy.
Never be like, stay tuned for the action-packed fast round. I never hold out when you like that. Okay, let's begin. Get it serious nonsense. There's no black guy in this game, actually. Now you say that. Because they're all Japanese. A deadly deception, a deadly betrayal.
How much was this game?
I think I got it on sale for it's 2-for-1. It was like 30-40 bucks. I was gonna buy the third one because it was 40 bucks, but I figured I'd try this one first. Just the time to use fake news. Just get increases more slowly.
That's a lot of money. I can't afford that mess.
Right now I don't know how much it costs, but I mean, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I'd recommend buying it for any more than 40 bucks. It's all text-based, it's pretty
Let's
linear,
begin
so.
with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But
Most
if you
interactive.
pick the wrong one,
This is the most interactive and challenging
then
part of the
I'll
game.
punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Now then,
But whenever they kill anybody in this part, it's fucking
begin
bananas.
with...
We already
It's
know
not
who
super
did it.
graphic, but it's cool.
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi. Don't try and deny it.
I didn't. Someone knocked me out. I was asleep the whole time. I don't know anything about it.
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprint for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after
Bye, bye,
crime.
Bye bye bye.
How many times do I have to tell you?
This is so.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Zopso.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No. Just hold on a second.
I fucking love this music here. The blueprint saying was off the message.
Everything we found in your
Super
room.
nice.
The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on! On a second!
I totally forget what I'm doing here.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
Fuck!
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
Everything we found in your room.
You suck.
The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all...
No,
it's wrong.
Yeah, you have to like pull out like phrases they used and then like load it in your gun and
Are we sure Hero really made those blueprints?
I haven't played the trial in a while,
What do you mean?
so I don't remember any of the choices.
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hero wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hero's the culprit?
And he is not the only one. I think Hero is innocent as well.
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hero said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
So? Who?
Shoot!
Ah. It was Hero.
I got it! Other than Hero, obviously he was the one in that particular...
Then there can be no doubt.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. Hero was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Now that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around!
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular... Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
I got it! I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right? So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room. And then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp. It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right?
Which is weird because he's way later than the fucking.
But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway. We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
He's probably want to do it. Absolutely. Going on in this fucking part. I hate these parts.
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! Away with you! You miserable wretch!
That's supposed to be a triangle? Oh, what the fuck was that?
I refuse to give up yet.
I forgot that shit disappears after a while. Like it goes way. Alright, let's see. Let's do this. Let's go, guys.
You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst, you miserable wretch! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! Away with you! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst, you miserable wretch! You miserable wretch! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! Away with you!
Got her. Oh, did I fuck it?
I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
Okay. I have like no life left. I almost fucking lost again.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here.
Now I'm starting to get the hang of that part. I was supposed to press triangle to fucking actually shoot the things I was locking on there.
When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread.
Yes, dude.
The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo Justice didn't do it. What kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
You can't bend over in the suit.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and reeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
No, it's wrong.
Objection. Phoenix Wright shit. Yeah, basically
You're
his name is Phoenix
absolutely
Wright.
right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember? When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it,
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible! Not that I can say for sure, Mike.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
You don't. These are ultimate forgetful students. I would think something that you can't take seriously. I would make the stupid freaking thing. It's the clasp in the bag that keeps you from doing it all.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off.
Then, you really can't take...
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
That or genocide jacket can kill.
Yeah, that's right!
What's his name? The dickhead kid.
So,
Glasses.
it's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body...
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
Yeah, it was. How did he get hurt? The guy hit me. Robo Justice.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same.
Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it before we rush to a verdict. Shouldn't we explore every single possibility instead of seizing on one viewpoint? The truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
Saw a shadow of something moving around on top of the stairs.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that...
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
She's the one that kept finding him. She's helping him.
And then... At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising. We rushed back to the nurse's office.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
And Celeste might have done. Are we doing something else or something?
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see.
She's the one that found the
The
bodies
whole
moved.
thing sounds exceptionally complicated.
She knows too much.
It
Celeste
certainly
didn't.
seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them.
I think Ifumi killed Taka and Celeste killed Ifumi.
Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka. So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died... before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Oh,
Shoot!
do you run out of health if you don't answer it in time? Figure it out.
I refuse to give up yet!
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in.
Shoot! So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi.
What did Ellen do again?
Or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
shot them, but what do you mean? Where do I shoot them?
Shoot!
There's only 2 options. I shot them both.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before he...
By holding... Press the triangle to fire 2 bullets. Select. If you target a weak spot and then hold down the triangle button.
Boom. Or perhaps it was after? We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the justice here.
No, it's wrong. Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Let's watch. Oh, right. Fuck, I see the letters. Oh, that's wrong eye. What's the SF? Alright. Oh, I gotta keep shooting. Fuck off, man. That's bullshit. Try again.
I refuse to give up yet.
This makes me want to play things right again. Those are good games. I don't remember if I ever beat the first one, to be honest. Pretty sure I just don't remember the end of it.
Now I understand.
Now I understand.
I got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night... So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body. That's totally true! We're all in the clear!
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up!
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room. And then, there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all in the office because of Hifumi going missing. Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time!
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right...
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway! In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said, his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
He wasn't dead, he got up and walked up. And then Celeste found him.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... No!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was moving on his body.
He was... alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
It isn't possible.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, and you know that how? Surely you heard the body discovery announcement. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discover Hifumi's dead body, and that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, and you know that how? Surely you heard the body discovery announcement. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is Hifumi was dead, and you know that how? Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along Hifumi's dead body had been found, and that is why the announcement...
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually...
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead,
and you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No, it's wrong. Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma's...
What do you say, Monokuma?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, but what I can say about it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man.
No, actually, that was plenty. He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Which means, even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice. I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies. It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies...
Then in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom! That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Glasses.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, shoot! Well, here's one thing we did the first time we found him, and then, his body disappeared.
And the next time it was in the...
But when you compare his body before being, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No, it's wrong! In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
Should have been Zaka's
The
blood.
fridge in the nurse's office contains
that's
packs
right.
of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! Oh, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository.
So that's less than when she killed him.
But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it. If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
The letter.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Fumi's pants.
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi.
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time? Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, it's wrong! No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. You've already proven that using his wristwatch.
Stupid.
But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Sorry about those big black squares in the top left of my screen.
Where's your proof?
Updating some things.
Go ahead.
Installing small
Show
games,
us.
like with the City of Beta, which I will be playing tomorrow. Or possibly tonight.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There is only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi!
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms,
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
I don't know.
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi? What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers!
No, that's wrong! The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was right.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with the way the graduation rule works. There is no benefit, so the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not? Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the assuming the rule holds true. It is simply impossible.
That is how the rule was explained.
But that only really applies if there's one murder. In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive, assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong. Since there were 2 murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that 2 people could act as each other's accomplices to commit 2 separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating 2 separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now!
Manipulated Hifumi's carry out a number of actions in anyone baits, cups on now, consider all that. It's really person so much.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the 2 of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the 2 of you were working together.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said? We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
What's wrong? I was right. That's scream for someone like you. I saw him, strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Are they not past each other on the way through?
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up. Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom.
Yet they were in the nurse's office.
Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
All I said was... must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Shoot! All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die. Just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die. Just like those.
No, that's wrong. That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to...
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
It's Hifumi holding up.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away.
It's Hifumi dragging away.
I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way! You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
I will tell you what she...
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight.
No, that's wrong. No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that, because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Fake ass accents.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
What's that?
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually... Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
Shoot!
Think back to how did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine. Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
The Boomy was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is...
Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
Upside down.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No, that's wrong! That's it! The handbook!
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before. So all we have to do is check her handbook. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end. you!
Oh, whoops. Yeah.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi, to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that.
Fuck. What the fuck is this supposed to be?
Here's exactly what happened. So, for these attacks, the first fake, they wanted to make sure that the suspect... While we did that, we left Hifumi. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
looking for.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
I still don't know where that laptop is. Was she the one that took it? I think it was Byakuya, to be honest. It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. Black in this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, aiming precisely at Taiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
That sucks. I was trying to work with someone else who was a mistake after all. Fumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Fumi with this plan. But how did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty, don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
When he did use, you know... I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're actually right. To get Hifumi to access my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. She talking about Alter Ego?
Say what?
What? What are you talking about?
Just a second.
Alright, we're in the middle of a very important conversation. How's that?
In other words...
You don't want to store it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
I use this as right for me until the plan becomes right again. Last time we had our meeting about how it disappeared. I paid you for me a little bit.
Actually...
I was hoping to talk to you about what was stolen. I know who did.
What? Are you okay with this?
Taka, he stole it.
So then...
Proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I'd found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you know what to Taka's room early and took pictures of it there. I deleted the pictures as soon as I'd shown it to him.
Damnation!
How did he do it? He was supposed to yell if either of us got closer. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
As for me...
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh,
As for me...
He came to my room last night unannounced, so then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
what?
And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
That's a crime, an absolute crime. I knew he'd gone a little
Say
crazy, but
what?
I never imagined he would go that far. It's amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life.
Completely unforgivable!
Wow, they finally took that for
Most unfortunate.
Wait, if you go now, you'll be playing right nose in.
Huh? Actually...
Taco's planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target.
What?
Escape, you don't mean. Taco's going to try to kill you.
Indeed.
And also, so he can keep her to himself.
Completely unforgivable!
Honestly.
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? Should she?
I swear!
Actually...
Would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful scheme. And with that, it is complete. Oh no. Fumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that it had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even as love is twisted, is that can drive people mad at the same.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Fumi's creation?
Indeed.
There was real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why did you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it?
Let's see...
In that regard, I made the right choice. I'm glad I took patience. Life must have been tough on your parents then. I feel like I could cry.
Well...
When you were explaining it playing her for me, or did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Fumi supposed to do after that? Assuming he would actually let him know.
Are you okay with it?
That's simple. After he did his part, pretending to be dead, and once he showed up, I told him to say he was seriously injured. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. He was really breathing. Of course, that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained it to Fumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. In fact, when Fumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seemed very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Fumi gave it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
So in the end...
He had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point in my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
Life can mean so little to you.
Well...
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Now you sound like you got to get.
I wonder about
Your
that.
eyes is pleasure from the floor down. That aspect of nothing in life.
Why?
And what made you think taking this far?
What the heck?
Is it really just for money? We've been talking about the $10 million when it come off with us. Well, it is a lot of money, sure. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment hiding life began, not only thought I was going to escape.
But...
Only you can say how we have to accept living.
You little bitch!
Obviously, that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. When anyone else did.
You little
I wanted to
bitch!
get out every day of this fresh torture. And do you want to know why?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. Accepting our life here would have known nothing less than giving up my dream.
Honestly.
And there is no way that could ever be that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me...
And it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of yours?
Isn't it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. Castle. We got a handsome man from all over the shores our butlers slash bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life, there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have played that dream in reality. I got right
There
to
is
the
nothing to be done.
My dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dreams to the very end. So why would I?
Just the worst.
It sounds so pathetic, but you're really able to kill your own friends
Oh.
for it. Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own morals.
Do you understand?
That's all there is to me, and that's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for others to understand.
What is this?
Look, that's what we should be saying. And to us, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're going to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled. I take pride in that. It's not just other people and full my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why I'm not scared.
Yes, indeed.
That's right. I don't fear death. Don't think I can do it. But, you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice,
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marine and so on.
Hey!
Had it at the end. Yeah, right. You just go to the end. So I smiled at him, and when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak, fake smile is what...
Thrills! Chills! Kills! Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment! Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then... Take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
Goodbye, my love. This is the scene I've been waiting for. It's not gambling stuff. Everybody else had to deal with it. Versace. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Versace. That sucks. That's the most horrifying one so far. That's the worst way to go. I thought they'd kill her like with gambling chips or some shit. Because everybody died with their ultimate baseball player and died with baseballs. Ultimate fighter gang leader died on a motorcycle. What was the other one? I forget who the other trial was for. If there was one. I think that was it so far. Celeste death is over. Celeste killed my friend, so I can't pity her, but also can't deny that at one point I considered her a friend. And for him to just come along and... It's just awful. Someone couldn't cut free of the regrets from the outside world. Some more people have
Extreme!
You guys are still young. You need to place more value.
What are you gonna do?
Jeez, and here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
Let me out of here!
I'll throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here.
Too bad!
You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock you down and no one. It's sad, yes it is, but that reality just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you going to make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest. So anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key tape bounder from Celeste?
Hey!
So what's the deal with that?
What?
So then...
I'll answer a question if you answer mine.
You...
What did you do? What did you do to me?
Ooh!
What?
Hey.
Answer me. What did you do to my body?
Ooh! How exciting!
I have no idea. I have no idea about it. It's just being unfair. What was that just like? Mastermind did something to cure his body.
Hell.
I feel like you should get kind of out there. It's about time we got out of here.
Well?
Meanwhile, you guys have been along enjoying your school life. You get lonely, give me a shot. Not that I did anything better.
See ya later!
Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although it wasn't all despair. She's a spy. Ultimate spy is probably what she is. Ultimate android. There was one small hope. Hey Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but it's that key
So...
Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers.
Huh?
Well, then that means... So let's probably head in
Hey!
there. I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we better go check.
Indeed.
Good idea. Let's not all go at once and give away what's fucking happening. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room, so you can watch us all in the bathroom and the dressing room.
Hey,
What?
so...
Come on.
Still a risk of a spy, though.
What?
Please let me go. Standing here arguing is just going to draw more attention to us. Let's do what we want. Thank you, God.
Well then.
Since soccer already. Those two girls going to the bathroom now, down the
Yo!
Okay.
Feels like her until the pusher was going to show her back on.
Shall we go? So then,
You need to get in that locker. Kyoko took the key Celeste had given her and unlocked the locker. His locker swung open, so...
You're really cold.
I don't think staying charged on it. Safe, thank goodness. I never heard Kyoko sound so relieved. It was like she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. It just what Celeste asked. I didn't say anything. I stayed quiet the entire time. Oh, I think I might be able to open the last set of files and maybe as well as tomorrow. Getting up us, so please just wait over there. So, my file. Especially so the case is closed. As far as the sensitive is concerned, sure. I'm going to take a second since we have this opportunity. I want you to be honest with me. Kyoko, please tell me, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do all on your own here at this school? Is that why you wanted to come here with me?
however...
Well, that's not something you need to know right now. You don't need to know. It just makes me even more worried.
What?
Worried? Like what happened during the investigation this time. You disappeared and we didn't see you again. Without warning, without explanation. You do
Indeed.
that. It's only natural. Me too. I agree.
What?
You believe? Isn't it obvious people believe in their friends, right? That's why I wanted you to tell me. I wanted you to be with me too. Because we're friends. I understand.
It's true.
Maybe I can be just a little bit more.
That's fine.
Fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you I've been despairing and open your own, you see. What I heard from Kyoko then was, well, frankly, it kind of blew my mind. After I had told Kyoko I believed in her, she told me a story that was, well, almost unbelievable. I decided I had to confirm what she told me with my own two eyes, so I waited for nighttime to come. And when it did, I went into action.
Correct.
The boys' bathroom on the second floor doesn't have a surveillance camera or monitor in it. And in the storage closet there, waiting back. She said I was waiting back for the boys' room storage closet, but Kyoko really would be alright with this. Is it only girls' room? It's just a normal storage closet as far as I can tell. See what Kyoko told me about could it really be hidden in here? Being in Shunk. At the same time as I heard that sound, I fell through the wall. I had no idea what was going on. I turned out that I was in the open door and I went to the other side.
Correct.
The boys' bathroom, the second floor is a storage closet, and in the back of that closet there's a secret. So it's a secret room, but what's in there? I'm trying to click it. Files and books and filing of yearbooks. They're all covered in dust. I think one file on the edge of the bookshelf got mine. Both these copies do not shoot, so they're not going to be dust. Someone knows what I was on. I slipped the file in front of me, but before I had a chance to look at it, I slipped the paper file out of the file and I sorry. Must not leave. That's weird. I can understand if it says like I can't leave, but must not leave. What is this? My head feels funny. Strange sensation. It's like deja vu. Those words, you must not leave. I've seen them somewhere before. I can't quite remember. What do I know? What don't I know? I can't check the other phone. That's bullshit. A strange sound rang through my head. I wanted to check the desk. Should've fucking saved sooner. Damn it. I felt like I was shaking my brain back and forth, and then darkness. I don't understand what was happening. I don't know what started it. It's all over, and with that I opened my eyes. I didn't know how long it had been. Apparently something hit me, and I lost consciousness, that's all I understood. A dull throbbing pain in my head proved that much at least. It's just a normal desk with normal drawers. Empty bookshelf, huh? Empty. Gone. It's all gone. The yearbooks, the student registry, and even the notes that had fallen on the floor. It's all gone. What does this mean? My brain refused to do any more work. The insistent pain in my head began to spread across the rest of my body. For now, I should go back to my room, get some rest. My body was heavy with pain, my mind heavy with thought. I dragged myself back to my room. So I'm not very back to the first floor, so before I walked in, I felt things are getting blurry. Can't see in front of me. I could stop myself from watching right there. And after that, as if from the fastest distance, I heard a sound. It was faint but undeniable. That sound was coming from the gym. As I desperately hauled my shaky frame toward the gym, the sound got stronger and stronger. What's going on? It can't be nothing here in the gym. Excuse me, I didn't make a sound as I opened the door of the gym. The sound was coming from inside, meanwhile, only intensified. Soccer. Fighting. If only the rage of battle beyond as humanly possible. No one's side's not. No one's like not doing that for sure, but that's the thing stop standing.
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. What's the meaning of this? How dare you defy me? This wasn't part of the deal!
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat, no longer compromise, no longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
Okay, but you do realize what will happen if you go through with this, right? You haven't forgotten, have you? What I'm holding hostage?
Next generation has been stand proud of Akira. The end. She got executed, and that brings us up to now. Next man dying all the day after Celeste's case. So now there's only 5 of us, so only a third of the number of people we started with.
Indeed.
And this has become commonplace. That's like that. It's gotta be because you're fucking stomachs, right? Fill your belly up, and then I'll chew it out. So let's grab some fish and donuts and eat some cans. What? Fish and donuts, baby. It's like a deep impact style meeting in fact extinction level. You think combination of things, yeah. But those are those breakfast on top celery. Still, though, so we can't pretend that part is a problem. After we're done, we need to go explore.
I see.
That's right. This is the last round, so there, so
It's true.
let's just go across where we go.
You got it!
You know? You're serious.
Well...
Hey, are you okay? It's only so it's about to die. I'm so okay, I'm not gonna die. Why? Because there aren't gonna be any more murders.
According to the spirits...
Last night, it's revealed itself to me from reading through. There's no doubt.
However...
How accurate is your fortune telling anyway?
How about that?
We usually hit 20-30% on a good day. It seems really low.
It's not like some occult mystery.
Of course, I'm gonna get it right.
The occult is bullcrap!
My fortune telling isn't like some occult thing.
So,
Fortune telling doesn't look.
You got it all wrong!
Not clairvoyance is clairvoyance. Don't put it in the same category as cattle mutilation.
Huh?
Cattle
So...
Actually...
No, you're calling it an urban legend. As a matter of fact, it's true. As a matter of fact, it's reality. It all happened one day when I went to get a hamburger. There was a place I'd been before they cleaned my daddy's burgers. So I got a burger.
But... the end is nigh!
The sky was filled with mysterious sparkling light.
Some crazy beam came out of nowhere and locked onto my hamburger. And as soon as the beam touched it, the burger started floating in midair. And then, still floating there, the entire burger started coming apart. One part of it just vanished, while the rest fell back into my hand. Do you realize what that means? It means the burger wasn't 100% beef. It must have had some pork or something mixed in. Something like 70% pork and 30% beef would be my guess. You can't trick me.
So I stormed back in the burger place and got to the manager's grill. They fully admitted it. It wasn't 100% beef and mixed in ground pork.
How about that?
Now you see, that is cattle mutilation. We kind of got lost after the You can't tell if you're for the goal records.
Don't be mean!
Sicko. Oh, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I was wishing that was true. At the very least, I want murder.
Yeah!
Of course.
Indeed.
That goes for me too, of course. I'm never killing my friends. I feel like those words of punishment were helping us come together as one. There's so much sacrifice and hardship we found in coming united, but...
Well.
To be honest, I wish Byakuya and Toko were here for this
But...
too. But they're so hard to deal with, they only think about themselves. Yeah, we're better off without them, I say. That was enough to prove. We were united for the time being, but within that bond hid weakness and fragility. Style apologies. Who the fuck are they? We began our search as soon as we finished our breakfast in the dining hall. We had to find out what had opened up. That was waiting for us. See it again, so. No, fuck it. So it's not good. This floor got opened up and all, but there's like a ton of locker rooms up here.
So then...
Hey, Makoto. Huh? That's right. Okay.
passwords.
Too bad. Hey, it's true.
That's true. If that's the case, it's really real son. It's where the actual clouds are on.
Hey. So... What? That's fine. Because... It would seem... That doesn't matter.
Let me ask you something else. You know about that?
Just a second.
Still a quick pass.
So... Listen to me.
Is that okay? She made it sound like she was asking, but it was clear I wouldn't have any say in it.
So then... Am I wrong? What?
What's the matter? If you're about to camera, I'm just rub it down.
Hey.
About your friend, and you don't have evidence for it. I feel like I should tell you. I haven't found conclusive evidence yet. I'll talk about it now. It could just make things that much worse. I should keep secret, but there's nothing worse than discussing that. So why give you the option?
Correct.
So that's
However...
But do you think that's where you're happy to go?
That's fine. Goodbye.
If those are fighting words, Kyoko left me standing alone. I think I made her mad. I've already taken the business. Everything's wrong here. There's nothing to think about. For now, I can head back to the dining hall and talk to you guys. I couldn't fucking talk to Sako, of course. Long after I got in the dining hall, all the village rooms are going. And for a few minutes.
Well,
this is everyone like let's discuss it.
Yeah.
There's a big shelf in the camp lab on the fourth floor. They had all kinds of stuff. Supplements. Should at least go take a peek. I highly recommend it. Thank you. They're probably interested in stuff. It's not stuff. There was medicine and all stuff on top of that. There was also a bunch of different things. We're all labeled clearly though, so it'll be hard to grab.
It's true.
Still, we gotta make sure we're careful.
Well,
just in case you know. Just in case you have to.
However,
it's Byakuya, it won't be long before it starts to all stuff. But to play something as interesting as that, that's actually Trying to cover everything
But how about that?
What the heck? Hey, come on now. Unbelievable. Your teacher had such faith in you. And this is how you repay me? Ooh. This is kind of depressing. Too bad.
Right now, afterwards,
well,
as I break it down, we'll get to the he got out of his way to make it a rule like that. There's no doubt something important must be in there. I should really, but now it's a rule. There's nothing you can do. Metal sheets have been attached to the windows of the fourth floor.
In other words,
fourth floor is more likely to that is to be expected.
so that's right. What's your deal?
That's your fault, isn't it? Mostly done something to her.
For serious.
Looks like nobody found it at all.
How about that?
My dad was smoking. So you guys all remember, right? You remember when I first read the third floor?
Perhaps.
Huh?
Huh?
But
conspiracy! What?
So then,
when you trust Monokuma's word over the people who have died.
Because...
That's what I'm saying. I'm shocked he told everyone how we should believe in our friends, but refuses to do the same. That's not. Come on, Kyoko, I didn't tell emotional damage, which is right.
Hey, come on!
Stop fighting, or your good luck is gonna float away. Anyway, Makoto, you're thinking about it too much. There's no way Monokuma did fake that.
Of course.
He's just trying to confuse us. You shouldn't listen to anything Monokuma has to say. You might be right, but still. Sorry if I'm reading too fast, guys. I tend to mumble and slur my words. I'm just trying to get through this pretty quick. Are you still so conflicted?
What?
Looks like you guys have stopped.
Yeah.
You all have the same sentiments. You are all so weak, but you shouldn't let them sink in your way. I like that you have particular privacy and your apology. Okay, apparently there's no way to say Kyoko. It's like forcing you. And then it comes down. When I look at you, it makes me think of frogs and Elvenor.
You know?
Just a second. What the heck?
That's right.
Hey,
That's fine. Such ignorance.
it would seem...
Okay.
That's bad. Why put me in front of the dining room? Back to the dressing room. Toko's sitting alone on the bench, the laptop in front of her. Toko, do you just have to come here? Or
What's your
I
problem?
already heard it.
How about that?
Well... Huh?
What?
Ah, she's sneezing so much all of a sudden. That seems like such a shitty trick. Like that happen at any fucking time.
What? You SOB!
How about that?
One shot trees to besiege.
Oh, I'm on fire!
Master abusing me. So she is master abusing me, but the other one loves it.
Hey,
So then,
You really came.
correct.
I see.
Just a second. So then...
Leave it to me.
I see.
Hey, me!
Just a second.
That's right.
They just must offer money. Let's try to do it this way.
What?
Well,
I see. That's right.
so,
Hey,
sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty useless information.
Indeed.
Wait! So, sorry.
No shit. That's usually how shit fucking works.
The headmaster?
That one knocked me out last night.
Okay.
perhaps.
We're serious.
No matter what,
So,
So then,
sorry. Sorry.
hey,
So, okay then. Sorry.
anyway,
I see. Okay then.
I see.
indeed.
But,
But,
well,
hmm.
I do.
Hey.
Come on, it's just a program. Telling you to be a program with a friend, right? But you know, what's the difference between us and that program, really? We're all trapped.
that's right.
How about that?
So,
Oh, I so deep.
What?
I quoted from I don't remember where.
hey,
There's nothing more else you can do to help.
just a second.
I question the ease with which you decide who is and isn't your friend. Do you really need
Wait.
that? Should go over Walter for something one more time. So speaks death.
What?
Why are they making us kill each other? Alter Ego said what happened 1 year ago was what started everything.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Anyway, at the very least.
What?
However,
Could it be...
I see.
What the heck?
Anyway... So... Correct. No matter what?
Well,
So then...
Yep.
Whew.
Ba-bum, ba-bum. Now I'm
Please!
Pum, pum.
Ah!
That's all not stopping.
This isn't as such. Soon the doors to the dining hall will be locked. Okay then. Sweet dreams, everyone. Good.
Correct. Hey. It's true.
I did it because of the tragedy which has happened a year ago, and apparently the headmaster is the one behind all the mastermind. All these mysteries make me worried, but I still have to try and unravel them bit by bit. I'm sure the road will be long and tough, but I don't have any other choice.
And that's the secret origin story of Monokuma.
Good morning, everyone. It is now get ready to
Alright guys. It's a good time around this up. I gotta get some sleep. I'll catch you guys later. I'm streaming like all day every day and all kinds of shit, so don't forget to tune in. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave me any constructive criticisms or ideas or requests. Comments and all that. It's all back, so. Alright guys. Peace.